Today we're going to be working on using the Fibonacci sequence, which is a great sequence that we find in nature in all kinds of shape. And it's really hard to see in my kitty cat, but I started here and it swirls out to make a bigger pattern, and it's ongoing. So it goes on forever and ever. It's one of those infinity numbers. And this is another one we did, is like a little chameleon with its tail getting a little fly, a little snack. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with our paper first, and a pencil and a ruler. And today we're going to be using the metric. So we are not going to be using the inch aside with the big numbers. We're going to be using the smaller one. So this one's really nice to be able to draw squares with. So you'll see it says 1 centimeter, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to go all the way to 13 today. So we are going to start with our paper landscape style. I like to fold my paper just a little bit on the corner, just right here, because I just want to find the center of my paper, and I could use my ruler, but I'm not. I'm going to do a little faster. And from that, I am going to put my ruler on it, and I'm going to mark where 7 centimeters is. So I go down 7 places. Now the Fibonacci is 0, so I'm starting out with 0, 1. So I'm going to start out with my first square, and I'm going to move my ruler down. And I could start it from where I was and just go to 8, right? So my first one is I'm going to make a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter square. Remember, a square is the same length on all sides. So there's my 1. Now I'm going to move down below it. So 0, 1. And then I am going, I did that one a little too long, so I'll make sure I go back. You guys should have your eraser on hand, because sometimes in this project we're going to erase sometimes. Alright, so now we have 1, 1. So 1 and 1 is 2. So now we're going to do a box that has 2 on it. And I'm going to do that right in front. So a box that's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So that means inside that box fits 4 of these ones, right? So there would be your area. All right. So now what would be my next number? So I have 1 and 1 equal 2. 1 and 2 equal 3. All right. So now I'm going to move down below, and I'm going, so you see what I'm doing is I did one below, but really I should have started with this one, and I'm going like this in this pattern. But it's easier to start with one on the top. So here we go. I'm going to move down to 3. Go across. Try to keep my ruler as level as possible, because if I hold it like this, guess what's going to happen with my square? It's not going to look very square, is it? Because if I do my 3 centimeters, ooh, that's kind of, and that one is a little off too. See how it kind of goes in a little bit, but that's okay. We're just trying to get the idea of it. All right. So now that we have 2, 3, what's 2 and 3 is 5. So our next square is going to be, that's right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do it right above, or sorry, on the side. I'm try to keep my ruler as straight as possible against my paper. And that's okay, we're just trying to get the sequence so we can see it so we can do it. So that's my 5. You don't have to write these numbers in there. And then so our next one is, we had 1 and 1, 2, 2 and 3, 5. So 3 and 5 is, all right. So I'm going to keep on wrapping, and then I'm going to put my 8 right here. Let me go right here. See, I can see my paper, it's a little wide up there. I can see it because it didn't match up to 8, but that's okay. This is just kind of, we're seeing. So I have my 1, my 2, my 3, my 5, my 8, and I'm coming around. What's 5 plus 8 is 13. So now I'm going to put my ruler at the end, draw 13. All right. So now I have my sequence. So I can go, if I want to see it in the swirl shape, I would start from this. Go ahead and put a dot there so we know we're all starting in the right place. Right on the corner of that 1, that 2, and that 3 all kind of meet together. On this one I can go, and I'm just going to curve it out like this. Now I'm going to bring it in, and we can curve it a little more. This 2, I'm going to curve it. On the 3, I'm curving again. Do you see how I'm wrapping my shape? On this one, 5, I didn't go straight across. If I went straight across, it wouldn't have the swirl, and we need the swirl to show the sequence, because that's how it rolls. There we go. See, I put my hand down, and I used my hand, just my pencil, the tip to go. And on the same thing on this one, I'm going to stabilize my hand, and I'm going to meet this corner with this corner in a nice arc. So I'm rotating on this hand right here. Might take a couple tries. Now I know you guys can see it, right? You guys can see that it makes this. And what would happen now? What's my next square? What am I supposed to put right here? If I could fit it on my paper, 8 plus 13 is, got it, 21. So I would go to my next shape would be 21. Then my next one, 13 plus 21 would be, and I would put it right here. It would be huge. It would be so cool. I would love to keep going on. This might be a fun project to even take outside. And we could even do it in inches outside or bigger. Now the fun begins. I instantly see a snail, right? Like I'm like, oh yeah, like his little snaily yuckiness is coming out right here. Ew, and like all of a sudden he's coming out of his shell right here. He has probably a goofy little antennas. We don't have a lot of slugs here, but man, I've been places where there's like these things called banana slugs. Ew, they're so gross. Look at our little smiley. Look at this guy. So now what I would probably do is go back around and I would delete some of those little lines. I'd keep his shell. Remember, I think I told you guys about this, about holding down the paper and going the opposite way, because if I go like this towards my hand, it's going to wrinkle, right? I do it all the time. I still do it, even though I say, oh, you should do that. All right. And I could erase some of these square lines just a little bit, but this is kind of cool to see how this design was created. So now we have our snail, and now I can color. I also, you know how I see my cattail? See how that swirled up, and I used the body, and then I added a head. On this one, the chameleon, that was his tail as well. So like I made it come up, and I drew the chameleon there. There's all sorts of things you could do. You don't have to find an animal and draw it, but it is really fun. Let me make my guy. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. And think about other things that you have seen in your life that have the sequence. If you've seen any cool broccoli that has the cool pattern, or pine cones. All right, so there's a lot of math in nature. All right.